Yes, Madam President. This is a public hearing relative to the application to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the 2019-2020 Year 45 Consolidated Action Plan. Community Development Block Grant of $4,878,739. Home Investment Partnership Grant of $1,452,152. Emergency Solutions Grant of $401,206. Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, HOPA, $378,183.
And you'll be called in the order that you've signed in. If you have not filled out a card and want to speak, please fill out one now. You will be given 3 minutes to speak, and at the end of the hearing, time permitting, you'll be given an opportunity to speak again. I'm going to call a name, and I like to have the next person on deck. So I'm looking at Phil Prynn, Arise, and behind him will be Tanya Eastman from On Point for College.
Hi, thank you, counselors. My name is Phil Prynn. I'm the Systems Change Advocate at Arise Independent Living Center here in Syracuse, although we work in 5 counties upstate. We work with people with disabilities and help them live independent lives, lives of their choosing, adding to our community. One of the big difficulties that people with disabilities face is finding affordable and accessible housing. Both obtaining that housing and keeping it once they get it. We're here tonight on a specific issue, an issue that does not have a program currently funded and is not being addressed by the city of Syracuse. And we're urging that the council, neighborhood and business development, and the administration take a serious look at the real needs of our community and fund a program that will help people with disabilities gain assistance in getting basic access to their homes, ramps and basic access inside the home, hallways and bathroom modifications. These are the crucial things that allow people to stay in their homes, either seniors who are trying to remain in age in place, or people who find themselves with a disability, or people who are aging into problems and find that they can't continue to live in, say, a duplex or a Victorian home anymore. Our center continues to receive calls from homebound residents, family members, and social workers urgently seeking help. We've kept track. Over the last 6 months, we have dealt with about 160 calls for people seeking help just for basic access to get into their house, ranging from people who are trying to get out of rehab after a surgery and are being told they can't go back to their home because they can't get into the home, or people who, again, are facing losing their home and having to move into assisted living or nursing homes. I just want to skip to the real meat of what I wanted to talk about today. Our advocacy department had 4 conversations just today with people about this issue. First, a woman from the city's north side was going to be here but can't because she's the caregiver for her husband with ALS. He has to be carried up and down his stairs by her and her children. She had to quit her job to be his caretaker. They own their home. They have very little money. They're running on fumes. They were told they had to take out a loan to get a ramp, but they can't afford it.
Thank you, Phil. Any remarks you have, if you would give them to the clerk, we'll put them into the minutes. Thank you. And behind Tanya, we have Philip Clarkson.
Thank you, members of the Common Council. Good evening. I'm Tanya Eastman, the Director of Operations and Career Services at On Point for College. Thank you for your support of On Point in the 5th Annual Action Plan. As many of you know, On Point served our community for almost 20 years now, helping provide college and training supports to the most underserved, vulnerable youth in our community. Most of our students are the first in their family to go to college. Your support of career services will help Our lower income students prepare for professional positions and as they engage and complete their studies. For the past year, Career Services has supported 600 youth within our community with networking, pre-professional experience, empowerment events, and other career service soft skill related supports. With your support, Career Services will actively engage 200 students over the coming year in the targeted census tracks as identified in our grant. Students will receive one or more services, be provided soft skill training, participate in events, and most of them will participate in a pre-professional experience or postgraduate experience of internship or employment. So we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate your support of On Point for College Career Services. Have a good night.
Thank you. And now Philip Clarkson from Valley Vista, and behind him will be Christine Tyler.
Hello, my name is Philip Clarkson. I'm the president of the Valley Vista Tenant Association. The Greater Syracuse Tenants Network has been a constant resource for our building. Our building is 122 units for seniors and people with disabilities. As a former chair of the Greater Syracuse Tenants Network, I know that my home at Valley Vista Apartments does not have the same magnitude of problems like some other properties, but we need help. In the past 4 years, our building has gone through a financial restructuring, ultimately adding 33 more units more of project-based Section 8 and changing our original project-based Section 8 program. The whole process was very confusing, but the tenant, Sharon Sherman specifically, the tenants network was able to guide us through it. We went through a major renovation, which is an understatement, with all the tenants having to move from one apartment to another, or one apartment and back to the original apartment. That was fun. And Sharon was there to help us again. Lots of complications, but the tenant network was there for us. This year, we're going through the challenging process of converting to a no-smoking building. The process was extremely bewildering and stressful for the tenants, particularly those who smoke. The Greater Syracuse Tenants Network sorted out what the rights of the individual tenants were under the new policy, and they brought in legal services of Central New York to further explain all of our rights. This Tenants Network staff researched the issue with HUD and the National Housing Law Project. It's important that Valley Vista be preserved as affordable housing for those low income in the Valley who need it. And thanks to Sharon Sherman and the Greater Syracuse Tenants Network, we have that. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina Tyler, and behind her, Mary White from Women's Opportunity Center.
Good evening. I am Christina Tyler, the Vice President of the Clinton Plaza Tenants Association. I would like to speak tonight to the support of the Greater Syracuse Tenants Network. We have a good relationship with CRM, the new management and soon-to-be owners of Clinton Plaza. However, there can be times when any management company may overstep. A few months ago, the management sent housekeeping lease violations to 194 of the 305 apartments, myself included. Working with the Greater Syracuse Tenant Network, we got management to see the error of this action, and the management company not only withdrew all the lease violations, but actually apologized for this action within 24 hours. Over the last year, a major issue has arose concerning Mr. Joe Hucko, who owns the parking lot for Clinton Plaza residents. Mr. Hucko recently installed a fence which prevented the tenants from exiting from the back of the building, which is our second entrance. Initially, he installed padlock on the fence gate. The padlock on the fence would have trapped tenants exiting the building in the event of emergency, such as a fire. By reaching out to the fire department, the padlocks have been removed. The building was designed with this parking lot as an integral part of the use, and for over 40 years provided parking. With research we have done, reaching out to public officials who have attended our meetings, and advocacy to neighborhood and business development by the Tenants Network, we are confident that we are making progress towards addressing this issue. The organizing efforts from the Tenants Network with both the Executive Director, Sharon Sherman, and the lead volunteer organizer, John Herman, have been great. They have staffed all of our meetings, assisted us in developing effective strategies to collaborate with management, advocated for us, and provided connections to organizations and elected officials. Clinton Plaza Apartments is the last low-income multifamily development in downtown, and in order to help maintain and improve the living environment, we encourage the Common Council to support the Greater Syracuse Tenants Network in the upcoming CDBG budget. Thank you.
Mary White and Sally Santangelo from CNY Fair Housing. I butchered your name, Sally.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary White. I am the Director of Programs and Outreach for the Women's Opportunity Center, 901 James Street, Syracuse, New York. I am pleased to be given this opportunity to speak to you regarding funding for the WOC through the CDBG project. We've been honored to receive funding for the past 2 years and are looking forward to the work we can do in year 45 to help individuals living in poverty to become economically self-sufficient. I'd like to tell you a few stories to illustrate what the CDBG means to our participants. Gina, it's not her real name, I had to change him to protect her identity, is the mother of 5 children, divorced, and was living on public assistance and SNAP funds. She has spent years at home with her children, one of which is classified as special needs. The divorce had thrown her into a tailspin, but a friend pointed her in our direction, where she attended our Journey to Success class and in a few weeks was working. Her job has made her very proud and helps her to support the many responsibilities she carries as a single parent. Tina has 1 child, lived in a rundown house, survived by getting food from pantries, friends, and occasionally from her family. She's trying hard to get her high school diploma and is finding it hard to find a job. We've worked with her for about 6 months, helping her to get into better housing, get on SNAP benefits, and into preparation for her tax exam. She is determined to be an excellent example for her family. She took the Journey to Success class and is trying hard to find the kind of work she wants to support her family. She is on her 2nd interview with a local employer, and we're hoping for some really good news shortly. Sam is proud to have found the job of her dreams. She is a case manager for a local agency where she is helping other women find success in their lives. But she was living at home with her parents, her 2 kids, and a sick German Shepherd. Her job skills were very rough, having only worked part-time in the food industry. She took some classes at the WOC, but that was not quite enough. The Journey to Success classes helped her to focus better on her path to success. She gained the further training she needed and is now able to keep that job she treasures. The Women's Opportunity Center is proud to be a recipient of CDBG funding and even more proud to be able to serve the individuals who depend on us. Thank you for your continued support of the families of Syracuse.
Thank you. Sally Santangelo and Ricky Brown from Upstate Minority Economic Alliance.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to give you some updates on what we're working on at CNY Fair Housing. We of course appreciate the council and the city's continued support not only of our agency, but on the broader goals of achieving fair housing and housing opportunity in our community. So this year, this program year, so far, we've investigated or provided counseling to 140 households in the city of Syracuse. And provided training to over 500 individuals, landlords, service providers, and individual tenants on housing rights and responsibilities, fair housing rights and responsibilities. This program year, we also began undercover testing of source of income discrimination. We received complaints of discrimination against veterans with VASH vouchers at a number of properties and began undercover testing for those properties. Of the testing we did and those, we found evidence of discrimination, findings of discrimination in 4 out of 5 properties. And they weren't the properties we expected. We expected the smaller housing providers to be the ones that would be violating the source of income provision. These were all large management companies and apartment complexes within the city of Syracuse that were violating the source of income provision. We're currently working to identify additional complainants, and this summer we will be working with the Housing Authority and DSS to conduct a direct mailing to 10,000 individuals who receive public assistance and Section 8 to inform them about their rights related to source of income, as well as sexual harassment, which we are investigating more cases of, including in the city of Syracuse. We've also been working this year on a number of cases and working to prepare legal action against victims of domestic violence who are being evicted because of domestic violence at their properties. We're working to try to create really systemic change on these issues, as well as many of the other cases. We had a really successful case settled this past fall. It gives an example of really how difficult these cases are. We had a woman who had come to us almost 3 years ago. It was actually 3 years ago now. And she was 7 months pregnant and had severe depression and was being evicted from her apartment on the north side because she had an emotional support animal. And we usually can resolve these cases through advocacy by contacting the landlord. The landlord actually told our investigator that our client could take her fair housing rights someplace else. We filed a case, administrative complaint with HUD, and after a 2.5-year investigation with HUD, we settled that case this past fall for $15,000, all of which goes to the individual. She's using that money to now finish her degree at OCC. But it shows the kind of continued blatant disregard that some housing providers have and the need for continued education in this community. We look forward to
anything written down?
Nothing, no. We look forward to our continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Brown, before you come up, if there's anyone else that would like to speak, please fill out a card now. All righty, Ricky Brown, and then, oh, please, I don't want to batter this, Marwa from Interfaith Works.
Good evening. My name is Ricky Brown. I am the Executive Director of the Upstate Minority Economic Alliance. We are the only minority chamber of commerce in upstate New York. We represent 16 counties. If you look at the state of New York, we represent about a diamond. If you go as far north as Watertown, as far south as Cortland and Ithaca, over to Buffalo and east to Albany. In the previous 18 months that I have served, in May 2017, we hired our first executive director. In 2015, the organization was founded on a volunteer basis. And again, in May 2017, we hired our first executive director. Our work since that time, I am immensely proud of. We currently are actively underway with nearly $20 million in development projects in the city of Syracuse from our members. This is around the Regional Economic Development Council and us providing some technical assistance to those firms that helped them gain access to that capital. In the last 18 months, we've secured just under $3 million for those firms from the state. $1.3 million went to a project called Salina First, which I'm extremely proud of. Will be located in the heart of the south side of the city. It is a 100% minority and women-owned project, $6.7 million total investment value to the city of Syracuse. And we have a number of those projects that we've worked on. Part of our effort and our mission as a chamber is to increase economic opportunity and the impact of those dollars as they come into the region. An assist from the city of Syracuse would help us to continue this work. To continue to help us to bring on new businesses. As we've grown in the last year, we've secured more than 150 new memberships, with over 50% of those new businesses being directly from the city of Syracuse. As I look at the impact of these dollars going forward and the way to economically perch not only our city and our organization, we have to look for further ways to invest not only in the larger development projects that are here, but some of the smaller projects that involve our minority entrepreneurs. And just want to say again, we are tremendously grateful for the city's support. They have supported us in previous years' iterations, and we look forward to that continued mechanism that would allow us to serve as an outlier of the city in terms of pushing forward their economic engine as well. So we welcome the partnership, and again, really appreciate the support that the city's given us in the past. Thank you.
And behind Marwa is John Harriman from the Greater Syracuse Tenants Network.
Good evening. Thank you for giving us the opportunity Good evening. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. My name is Marwa Al-Ubaidi. I am the Resettlement and Placement Manager at Interfaith Work Center for a New American. We are a refugee resettlement agency. We provide resettlement and post-resettlement services, including employment service, English second language, health services, case management, and housing service. Our agency has received the CDBG and ESG fund, and this fund were really critical to provide housing stability to our clients. In 2018, we were able to provide 192 employment job placement to our refugees with 55% job retention rate. We also provided to 253 individuals housing services, including homelessness prevention and crisis prevention. We interact with over 1,000 refugees every year. The CDBG and ESG grant were very critical to provide housing stability to our newcomers. Our agency were able to exceed our program number every year because of the high need for the program. And we are really, we really need your support to continue for the program. Thank you.
Thank you. John Harriman, followed by Sally Kerner, dear lawyers.
Good evening. My name is John Herman. I've been a volunteer tenant organizer with the Greater Syracuse Tenants Network for the last 4 years. The first year as an AmeriCorps Vista, and the last 3 as a volunteer on my own time. When I started as a Vista, it was an intention just to kind of get some experience out of college and get into the workforce. Instead, I've been continuing as a volunteer because housing rights regarding project-based Section 8 housing and just general tenant rights is something that does not get informed about many to individuals across the country. Our organization is rare for something in this city of our size, most of them in the large major metropolitan areas, but due to the support of our Common Council for many years, we've been able to continue this work in the city of Syracuse. It's been a privilege to support the tenant leaders, Philip and has spoken earlier before, and their motivation to protect their rights for their housing has really been the motivation of why I come back every year and staffing tenant meetings. And the amount of knowledge and training that I've been able to receive at the Tenants Network has allowed me to help other organizers across the country and with the National Alliance of HUD Tenants in cities like Chicago, New York City, and national training events. And I've had the opportunity to work with tenants across Syracuse, such as in Valley Vista, Parkside Commons, and Clinton Plaza, and being able to address their housing issues, especially in Section 8, where they have a lot of protections from the federal government, and being able to give that highlight of what protections they have, because a lot of tenants can get bullied around by the large management companies. So. And then lastly, just as in highlight at Clinton Plaza, we've been able to work with our local elected officials and agencies to help affect change, as mentioned earlier. And also, neighborhood and business development has been a great help in funding assistance for tenants such as in the ESG for Catholic Charities and providing case management services and helping the tenants who are currently facing eviction and hoping to mitigate those issues and prevent future eviction. So thank you and have a great night.
Thank you. Sally Curran, followed by Rich Pachowski from Syracuse United Neighbors.
Good evening. Thank you, councilors. Although now I know I'm followed by Rich, so nothing I say will be very interesting. So I'm the executive director of the Volunteer Lawyers Project of Onondaga County. I'm here to thank you first for the $48,000 that was allocated to us in this budget. And I'm also here to ask that you consider using some of your discretionary dollars so that we can maintain the level of assistance that we've been providing in Syracuse City Court and in our community. Under the ESG supplemental grant in year 43, we had an additional about $70,000 a year that we used to hire a full-time attorney. And under that grant and with that money, we were able to make a really significant impact on our community. Through a pilot program with Syracuse Housing Authority, we were able to work to reduce the number of landlord-tenant matters that they filed from over 800 a year to down to less than 200 a year. We also have vastly increased the number of people that we're able to represent in landlord-tenant court. We represented 168 additional clients last year, bringing the number up to 1,004 tenants this past year. Those were represented not only by our staff attorney, but by over 70 pro bono volunteers who receive very close supervision and support by her. And we've also been able to vastly expand the community education and outreach that we do. This past year, we were able to do 12 different educational sessions in the community, reaching over 160 community members, whereas in a previous year, we were only able to do 3, reaching 60 people. So, I mean, it's a really profound difference. We're very committed to doing this work and to preventing eviction and preventing homelessness in our community. So I hope you'll consider any amount helps, quite frankly. And I'll just say we're very pleased to continue to partner with the city and other initiatives. We continue to work on Work Train. We're looking forward to being a partner in the Financial Empowerment Center around consumer law. So we enjoy working with you, and I hope that you see us as a resource in all matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich Pachowski, followed by Crystal Pinto.
Good evening, councilors. Good to see you here. A couple weeks ago, I kind of missed you. We have 2 rounds of these housing discussions. It's critical for your involvement. A lot of talk is what's going on downtown. Another project, Mark Conjo's putting up houses. You cross the street, you look at the telephone company. Go down Fifth Street. Go down Corning. Go down the south side, near west side, southwest, Skunk City. What do you see? Vacant houses. According to May of 18, there are 1,807 vacants. Rental registry is a joke for vacant houses. I just talked to Ken Towsley. 1,050 properties, vacants are not registered. Why? CDBG is a $4.9 million program. It was increased by $455,000 last year due to Congress. You know, I hope that the funding, increased funding, is going to do the goals that are highlighted in this program. You know, I don't hear some of the things that presenters are talking about. You know, I want to see more about affordable housing and to maintain the current affordable housing. Sun's been around for 42 years. We don't get money from the city like some of the speakers that come before me and come afterwards. I have my empty wallet. We're not seeing any funding for this community development program. And that's why we call to your attention to go after the goals that are set forth, you know, in the program. We support the good work of home headquarters, that we assist people in our neighborhoods with sharp, urgent care, people with bad roofs, bad sewers, a lot of those recently. and first-time homeowners, so we get people into these houses. But we must look at the vacant house problem. There's a lot of talk. Mr. Thompson knows that I'm active at the SIDA hearings. City is handing out $14 million in benefits last year in terms of pilots, in terms of sales tax breaks, and mortgage recording tax. And what are we getting on the south side? Vacant houses, like the one I reported yesterday at 925 Tallman at Coolidge. The back door's open.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Counselor.
Yep,
Next time, I hope I get more time.
Crystal and Linda Gerharan, Hiscock Legal. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Cosentino, and I'm the Deputy Director at Home Headquarters. Awfully difficult to follow Mr. Pachelski, but I'll do my best, especially as I'm standing in for Carrie Quaglia today, who's in D.C., and I believe he sent some remarks with regards to the CDBG programming. The funds provided to Home Headquarters are used to support and create homeowners here in the city. We use these funds to help homeowners make home improvements through urgent care and SHARP, provide pre-purchase education, counseling, and closing cost assistance to new home buyers, and support homeowners with foreclosure prevention services. Home Headquarters, as you know, has been a long-standing partner with the city, and collaboratively we've been deploying affordable capital to low and moderate income homeowners in the city through our SHARP and urgent care programs. These programs are vital to the sustainability of home ownership. Often these home buyers are unable to get financing anywhere else to fix the leaking roof, address an electrical or plumbing issue, or replace a red-tagged furnace. Now with our Green and Healthy Homes initiative, we are doing even more to mitigate health issues in the home by addressing radon, lead, mold, and addressing older electrical services such as knob and tube wiring so that the home can be insulated and no longer deferred by weatherization programs. Further, Home Headquarters uses the CDBG funds to leverage additional resources available for city homeowners and often applies for grants to help offset the payback, helping homeowners to borrow as little as possible to make home improvements, especially in the cases where the homeowner is very low income. And I would just remark, after hearing Mr. Prang from Arise mention, one of the things we are doing is working with affordable housing funds from New York State to work with folks that are looking for accessibility modifications. And in your budget this year, you have allocated some additional dollars for that as well. We've also been deploying $1 million investment from the New York State Attorney General for our Healthy Homes work. And we've obligated nearly $1 million of New York State Affordable Housing Corporation from a most recent grant of $1 million. So the funds are being leveraged and expanding here with our CDBG funds. Since 1996, we've helped more than 6,800 homeowners receive nearly $27 million in financing from CDBG funded programming. With closing cost assistance, 626 new home buyers purchased here in the city of Syracuse with $1.8 million of assistance. These are new home buyers educated by our Homeownership Center staff that they can be sustainable in the neighborhoods they're investing in. Just this year, the average age is 37 years old. These are young people wanting to invest here in the city. And that equated to $16 million in first mortgage financing. So we're working with local banks to issue capital in our neighborhoods. Again, I want to thank the city for your continued support, and we look forward to deploying PY45 CDBG funds for a positive outcome throughout the city. Thank you. I wrote it.
Linda Gerharan, followed by Joan Royal from the Westcott Community Center.
Linda Guerin, G-E-H-R-O-N. Thank you, members of the Common Council. I'm Linda Guerin, the Executive Director of the Hiscock Legal Aid Society. As most of you probably know, the Hiscock Legal Aid Society was established in 1949, and ever since we've been providing a broad range of civil and criminal legal services. And in our civil legal services, we handle housing, family, domestic violence, custody cases, support cases, all of this civil legal service contributing to nearly 5,000 people's issues per year, And of those, the vast majority face one housing issue or another, where they are facing homelessness, the risk of homelessness, and related issues, particularly immigration issues, domestic violence, employment, and matters that arise in the landlord-tenant court. During this past year, we continued with our intake all day, every day. Anyone facing an eviction can come to our office or can meet the full-time staff attorney assigned in the landlord-tenant court anytime that court is in session. And we've also introduced a more formal and structured social work component to this work, which involves the social work team, a member of our social work team, connecting with our client after they've appeared in landlord-tenant court to ascertain how are they doing 1 week later, 2 weeks later, and 30 days later, to towards that goal of ensuring that not only did we help them prevent an eviction and homelessness, but that they're maintaining housing. Your support of our housing work is greatly needed. The amount that's been proposed is what we need to sustain those services, which we helped more than 200 additional people last year. So hundreds of clients facing homelessness. We're aiming towards a goal of 1,000 a year, and together with on VLP, with whom we have a very close relationship down in landlord-tenant court, we are getting very close to our goal of representing everyone who needs help down at landlord-tenant court. Your support of our programs is noticed by local, county, and state funders, and together with their funds, we are able to provide this wide range of services. And so we thank you for your support of this program and ask you to continue that support, and a little bit more always helps.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Joan Royal, followed by Carol Johnson from OCPL.
Good evening, counselors. My name is Joan Royal. I'm the Executive Director of the Westcott Community Center. I'm here tonight to thank the council and the city for our CDBG allocation for year 45. This funding is critical to the programs and services of our community center, of which we're seeing a greater need on the east side of the city of Syracuse. Right now, specifically, I want to address and thank the council for our new food pantry that we're utilizing currently, and thank you, Councilor Allen, specifically for listening to the need. We're currently able to service senior citizens right now for additional food acquisition with our dry goods pantry, and we'll continue to leverage the additional funding that we receive from CDBG to work with other funders in order to, within the next year or so, be able to take this dry goods pantry and be a full food pantry and then open it up to the entire public of the east side of the city of Syracuse. You know, senior citizens are one of our most vulnerable populations, and right now we are able to provide additional food acquisition in breakfast, a light breakfast, lunch, food sense food packages from partnering with Food Bank, and now the food pantry, as well as our farmers market in the summer months that accepts SNAP coupons. So we have been very happy to be able to meet this need that we continue to see grow with our senior citizens. Additionally, this year with leveraging CDBG funding, we were able to secure an employment service specialist. So we are now able to help individuals on the east side of the city of Syracuse not only secure new jobs, but secure also employment skills or find ways to be able to advance in their career skills through their current job. And lastly, on behalf of my colleagues at the other Syracuse community centers, I was asked to let the council know something. So with leveraging CDBG funding, Syracuse Northeast, Syracuse Community Connections, Westcott Community Center, and Huntington Community Center has now entered into a more formal collaborative relationship. Through Through this more formal collaborative, will be getting additional professional development opportunities, and we have secured funding from the Allen and Reisman Foundations to secure 3 positions that will be shared throughout the 4 community centers. And this is a first for us and a first for the community to have us working this closely together. And we want to thank the council and let them know that CDBG funds have enabled us to leverage ourselves to get to this level. So thank you. Yep.
Carol Johnson and John Tomino from In My Father's Kitchen.
Good evening, counselors. I'm Carol Johnson. I'm the manager of the Mundy Branch Library on South Geddes Street. The Young Technology Leaders Workforce Development Program is run out of the Onondaga County Public Library, Mundy Branch. With community development block grant funding, the library is able to employ 4 city high school students who work approximately 10 hours a week. These 4 students run technology clubs for youth at Mundy Branch twice per week on Wednesdays after school and on Saturdays. During the current funding cycle, these 4 teens have run 58 program sessions with program attendance reaching 750. Year 45 application, we hope to expand the programming to Beecham Branch Library also. Our employed teens learn valuable workplace skills, leadership skills, and have the opportunity to develop their technology skills to help them prepare for college and the workplace. Our teens are excellent role models for the youth that attend their programs. Over the course of the grant year, they develop strong bonds with neighborhood youth while they provide valuable after-school enrichment programs for children in the Mundy Branch near West Side community of Syracuse. 2 of our employed teens are here tonight, and I'll just let them introduce themselves, and thank you.
Yaitza Delgado. I am in 11th grade, 17 years old, and attend Henniger High School.
I'm Mosiah Johnson. I'm in 11th grade. I'm 16, and I go to Syracuse Academy of Science.
Thank you. Tell your mother I said hi. Followed by Andrea Wandersee.
Good evening, counselors. I'm John Tomino. I'm the director and the founder of In My Father's Kitchen. We're going into our 9th year of existence as an organization, and we just thank you for your support over the last 6 years. We're going into our 6th application of an ESG grant. And I just wanted to give you some statistics of this last year's grant that we're still in with 6 weeks to go. Statistics as of right now, we've met 113 unduplicated individuals over this last year so far in Syracuse. We've housed in this last year 36 individuals. How does that happen? By collaborating with other organizations within our Housing and Homeless Coalition. So collaboration is the key to our success. And out of those 113 people, 75 individuals have been connected to service providers in our community, unduplicated services. So the mission of In My Father's Kitchen is to go into the streets of Syracuse, build relationships with individuals where we establish trust with folks. They tell us their story behind the cardboard sign. We engage them, and then we connect them to service providers. Our main supporters are obviously the Rescue Mission, Salvation Army, Catholic Charities Men's Shelter, as well as all the other organizations that participate in our coalition. We're boots on the ground, we're street outreach, but we're effective at what we do by building relationships. Even though I'm the director and founder, I'm out there in the van going out and meeting people and calling these individuals our friends. So I thank you for the support over the last 5 years. We're looking forward to going forward with your support going into this next year for us with this application, with this ESG grant. I want to say together, we're building hope and changing lives in our city, and we're your hands extended. God bless you guys.
Thank you. Andrea Wandersee from NEDA, followed by Bob Sikowski from Empower Housing.
Good evening, counselors. My name is Andrea Wandersee, and I'm the Executive Director of the Northeast Holly Development Association. You may recognize I'm a new face in this role. NEDA's gone through a lot of changes this year. We are the only Northside specific agency dedicated to improving the quality of life for its residents through housing, economic and community development programs, and we really appreciate your past and current support of our agency. As you know, the need is high for our diverse neighborhoods. The majority of household incomes in our service area is less than $25,000. annually compared to the city of Syracuse at 31,000 and change. Almost 24% of our residents are new Americans. NITA is currently reorganizing both our administrative structure and creating new programs to better meet the needs of our community in this competitive environment, and we've structured a lot of those programs in conversations through our community partners and, of course, our partners here through CDBG. Housing stability is NITA's top priority as we renew our focus on connecting low and medium income families with affordable housing opportunities. We're reinstituting our housing counseling program and landlord education programs, ensuring that families can find and maintain quality affordable housing. We're also going to be supporting families who are ready to transition to home ownership by having a real estate agent on staff. We're also really excited to have one of the financial empowerment centers here in our building. NITA's also committed to promoting business and economic development on the north side through technical assistance. We'll be promoting resources related to workforce and business development and the revitalization of local real estate and physical infrastructure. We do manage the Northside Business Partnership, and more importantly, we're trying to improve access to existing community resources throughout the Northside by bringing programs right into our neighborhoods throughout our entire 10 census tracts. The Holly Green title is a little bit of a misnomer, and we'll be addressing that as well in the coming year. Our partnerships with Northside Up, the Syracuse Northeast Community Center, Home Headquarters, Housing Vision, the Land Bank, and many other agencies here in this room allow us to maximize community resources for Northside residents. We're in the process of exploring closer administrative partnerships to create efficiencies within the agency and to really put more resources towards direct services to community members. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We appreciate your consideration, and we're available for any questions you might have.
Thank you. Bob Sikowski, followed by Sharon Sherman, Greater Syracuse Tenant Association.
Excuse me, good evening. I'm Bob Sikowski, representing Empire Housing and Development Corporation. Empire is a housing agency. We're one of the last remaining not-for-profit housing agencies in Syracuse that builds and rehabs housing for affordable home ownership and affordable rental housing in the city. There used to be more of us. There aren't as many now. We partnered with the City of Syracuse for the last 20 years and the council in doing this, and we couldn't have done what we've done without your support, so we thank you for that. I'm here today to ask you to restore funds that have been scheduled to be cut from our budget through CDBG. Approximately $15,000 has been cut from our allocation, so we're asking the council's assistance to restore those funds. I look at the funding priorities that come out in MBD's proposal, or RFP I should say. It talks about safe, affordable, stable housing for families. It talks about neighborhood blight remediation. For 20 years, we've done this. We've constructed or rehabbed over 450 homes in Syracuse, mostly for home ownership, but we've also done rental housing as well that's been for affordable housing. This year we're going to do another 25 to 30 homes in neighborhoods throughout the city. It also talks about blight remediation. Every time we rehab a house, we improve the neighborhood, improve the housing stock, and help improve the neighborhood. They also talk about priority being given to programs that demonstrate a 25% match or greater. Last year, for every dollar of CD money we received, we leveraged 77. So $77 for every dollar that was given through the, awarded through the CDBG process. Part of that leveraging, this year we've got a grant for $875,000 for a purchase rehab program to help 25 to 30 homeowners buy homes and improve them. That isn't money that goes to us, it goes towards those homes. We have another grant for $400,000 that's going for land bank properties, only for land bank properties. It's going to rehab 10 vacant land bank houses using $40,000 subsidies. We've started that work already with Caitlin Wright and her staff. When you talk about leveraging too, and I'll be quick on this, but the CD funds are different because the money we leverage largely goes into houses, goes to subsidies for homeowners. It's not money that helps us with operating. That's what CDBG money does, and that's the money that allows us to develop the projects we do. So it's really critically important to us. And we would ask the council's consideration restoring the funds that were cut and help us to keep doing this work. So, and thank you.
Thank you. Sharon Sherman, followed by Josh Sotheby.
Hi, I know you've heard from other Sharon Sherman, Executive Director, Greater Syracuse Tenants Network. I know you've heard from other people for the Tenants Network. I always like to have other people speak so you know it's not just me, it's about the people. I'm really here to thank you to the Common Council for what you did for the Tenant Network last year. If it wasn't for your support, we would have been out of existence. And your $30,000 that you allocated, I do feel bad because I feel like it should have gone to more agencies, but it did help us, and we ended up getting $36,000. I wanted to address some of the things that I heard when I asked the staff of NBD why their committee that they have didn't rate us last year high. And I think there's a lot of difficulties with our kind of program. You know, one of the issues is that we help tenants associations, and one of the things they brought up is, well, after you get a tenants association organized and they got bylaws, why do they still need you? And you'll have a letter there from McCarthy Manor, which we helped for many years, and then for about 5 years, they said, hey, we don't need you. We'll run our meetings, we'll do our things, the management's good, yes. Now they're calling us because they are having very serious problems with management. So it's not like we're there for mostly the buildings that are really having some sort of problem. It's with management, or it might be environmental issues such as Salina School, which is in the Washington Square neighborhood, and they don't get services. They're out of the catchment area of Northeast Community Center. So those seniors don't get a neighborhood advisor. We worked with Catholic Charities. They're now going to have a free minibus service. They were not qualified for the van. So sometimes it's helping neighbors. 2, our data doesn't show who we're helping. You just heard at Clinton Plaza, 194 tenants who got housekeeping lease violations, which were ridiculous. They only count for our data that you're going to see tenants who come to tenant meetings. So there were 40 to 50 tenants, unduplicated, who came to Clinton Plaza tenant meetings over the course of a year. But 194 people who we can't count for our reporting for HUD, they don't like it, were helped. 3, other agencies could do what we do. Well, some of the things that we do, which I do, are not what you're funding us for. Helping any individual who calls, I try to give them advice. We've never been funded for that. So, you know, that's something that other agencies may be able to fund. We actually work.
Thank you,
is that up?
Sharon.
Okay, that's all. I almost was at the end anyway. Thanks.
Thank you very
No
much.
written because I wrote it now.
Okay, thank you. I saw it.
Jai Subedi. I am a Northside TNT facilitator. And I'm here, I'm not representing any group, but as a Northside TNT facilitator and former housing coordinator at Interfaith Works, I know how challenging is the housing issues on the north side, as you pointed out on the other side of the city, but I'm pointing out to the north side because that is my long life experience. And as a housing coordinator before, we have to relocate the family in a couple of hours, so there wasn't any funding. So with the help of CDBG grant, it helped tremendous to save the life of the family. In the meantime, they have a good sleep overnight. So I'm here to advocate for Interfaith Works for the good work. A few months back, I have an opportunity to sit with Andrea, who is a new CEO, executive director at the NIDA. So while she was talking about the goodie stop that she's planning to start from the NIDA, yes, that's really resonates on the north side because we have a lot of vacant properties, A lot of new families will have an opportunity to buy the new homes, the new education, and then they can live in the city and pay the taxes, which is a good initiative. So that's the place where we have to spend our dollars in a proper way. And finally, I want to give a big shout out to John, who's a good friend of me and has been doing tremendous job on the north side. So these are the good work that has been done on the north side, as well as all the city sides people who have been doing great work in our city. So thank you, all of you.
Sharon Owens, Deputy Mayor of the City of Syracuse. I didn't fill out a card, but I couldn't let the night go by without recognizing the life and the lifelong work of Tom Francis, who passed away in February.
Yes.
So,
thank you. And we have now concluded our hearing. I declare this public